All right, so today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the idea of business moats, like those deep trenches around medieval castles to keep invaders out. We're going to be exploring how Alphabet, the parent company of Google, built its own defenses in the tech world.
Some pretty formidable defenses.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got some insightful analysis of their journey over the years. And trust me, this isn't just going to be some boring history lesson. This is about uncovering the fascinating strategies that took Google from just a simple search engine to a global powerhouse.
It really is remarkable how they did it.
Yeah. And we'll discover some pretty surprising details, like how Gmail wasn't just about email. It was a strategic move in a much bigger game.
That's right, yeah.
So to kick things off, let's rewind back to the beginning, the early days of Google. It all started with search, right? But what made their search engine stand out? I mean, there were other search engines back then, so what did they do differently?
Well, I'm thinking of it this way. Before Google, searching the internet was like wandering through a massive library with no organization whatsoever.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Just endless shelves of books and no Dewey Decimal System or anything.
Right.
Google, what they did with PageRank was to create a system that ranked websites based on their relevance and authority, like organizing those library of books by popularity and importance.
Okay, so they organized the chaos of the internet. But how did that translate into actual business success? Was it just a better product, or was there more to it?
Well, having a superior product was obviously crucial. I mean, Google was fast, it had a clean interface, and it was simple to use.
Yeah.
But their real stroke of genius, I think, was AdWords.
AdWords?
Yeah, launched in 2000.
Oh, wow, okay.
AdWords completely revolutionized online advertising by connecting advertisers directly with what users were searching for.
Okay.
So instead of just displaying random ads, Google showed ads related to your search terms.
Oh, so if I was searching for, let's say, the best running shoes, I'd see ads for shoe companies.
Exactly.
You got it.
That makes sense.
It was a win-win. Users saw more relevant ads, making them more likely to click.
And advertisers were able to reach their target audience more effectively, making their ads more valuable.
Right.
So this created a powerful revenue engine for Google.
And they needed that.
Yeah, and here's the key insight, I think. It cleverly tied advertisers' success to Google's.
Oh, how so?
The better Google search performed, the more valuable it became for advertisers and deepened their reliance on the platform.
That's a brilliant insight. So it wasn't just about building a great search engine. It was about creating this whole system where everyone benefited, but Google was ultimately in control.
Exactly.
So you've got the dominance in search and this revolutionary advertising model.
It's pretty amazing.
But their growth didn't stop there, right? This is where we get to those free services like Gmail and Google Maps,
Right.
which always seem too good to be true.
Right.
So what was the strategic thinking behind those?
Well, those free services, they were anything but simple acts of generosity, right? Think about the value they offered. Free email with tons of storage.
Yeah, who doesn't love that?
Yeah. Free detailed maps accessible to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
These weren't just convenient tools, they were incredibly strategic moves.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What was the strategy behind giving away such valuable services for free?
Well, the more we use these services, the more data Google collects about our habits, our interests, and our locations.
They can see where you're going with this.
Right.
Yeah.
This data becomes incredibly valuable for targeted advertising, making their ad platform even more powerful.
So they weren't just giving away services, they were building an ecosystem.
That's it, yeah.
Where data was the new currency.
Exactly, you got it.
Wow, that's a whole new level of strategic thinking. So they were playing the long game,
Uh-huh.
and it definitely paid off.
It did.
But how did they go from dominating the desktop internet to the world of smartphones? That had to be a whole other ballgame.
It was. It was. This is where Android comes in.
Android, okay.
Instead of creating a closed system like some of their competitors, Google made Android open source.
Ah.
Anyone could use it or modify it.
So they were just giving it away.
Well, it might seem counterintuitive,
Yeah, it does.
but it was brilliant. It was a masterstroke.
Okay, so why would they give away their operating system for free? That doesn't seem like a typical business move.
Well, this open approach allowed Android to spread like wildfire. It quickly became the dominant operating system for smartphones worldwide.
That's interesting.
And all of a sudden, Google had access to this treasure trove of mobile data from millions of devices,
Wow.
which further strengthened their advertising dominance.
So by giving away Android, they essentially locked in their future in the mobile world.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's crazy how one strategic decision can have such far-reaching consequences. It also kind of makes you realize how ingrained Google is in our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, I use Google Maps every day, Gmail for work, YouTube for entertainment. It's almost like they're woven into the fabric of the digital world.
That's what we call stickiness. That's the stickiness of the ecosystem they've created.
Yeah.
Once you're in, it's really hard to leave.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right. Because the services are so interconnected and so convenient.
Yeah.
You start with one, then you start using another, and pretty soon you're relying on their entire suite of products.
It's like they've created this world within the world.
Yeah, you could say that.
So we've got this incredible foundation, dominance in search, this revolutionary advertising model, a wealth of data from their free services, and a mobile operating system powering most of the world's smartphones.
That's quite a foundation.
It's an empire.
Yeah, it is.
But then things got even more interesting. They created Alphabet. Why create a whole new parent company when Google was already so successful?
Well, by 2015, Google was involved in such a wide range of ventures. Everything from self-driving cars to healthcare, even extending the human lifespan.
Wow.
It was really remarkable how much they were doing. The original structure was becoming a little unwieldy. Alphabet was the solution.
So it's like they'd built this massive, sprawling castle and needed a new blueprint to manage it all.
Exactly. Alphabet became the overarching kingdom, with Google as the core castle, and all these other ventures as separate, semi-independent entities.
I like that analogy a lot.
Yeah.
So what did Alphabet allow them to do that Google couldn't? Was it just about organization, or were there other benefits?
Well, Alphabet provided a much clearer focus for each venture, allowing them to pursue these ambitious, sometimes high-risk projects, like moonshot projects.
Yeah, okay.
Without jeopardizing the core business of Google. It also made them more appealing to investors who could now invest in specific areas that interested them. You could say it's like a diversified investment portfolio. You've got some safe bets, some high-risk, high-reward ventures.
That's a really clever analogy.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Investors love diversification, and by separating these ventures, Alphabet could attract more funding and talent for each specific area.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've established Alphabet as the kingdom, Google as the core castle.
Right.
But let's talk about those other bets, those futuristic towers being built around the main structure. What were some of these ambitious ventures they were pursuing?
Well, some of the most notable other bets would include Waymo, which is developing self-driving car technology.
Self-driving cars, that feels straight out of science fiction.
Right.
What else?
And then you have Verily,
Verily, okay.
which is focused on tackling huge challenges in healthcare. Everything from disease prevention to extending human lifespan.
Wow, they're really shooting for the stars with these.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And there are many more covering areas like artificial intelligence, renewable energy, even space exploration.
It's really incredible.
These ventures show that Alphabet's thinking long-term, way beyond just the next quarter's profits.
It really does paint a picture of a company with a grand vision for the future.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But even with all these new ventures, did they neglect their core products? Or did they manage to keep innovating in search and other areas?
They never stopped innovating. Google search is still considered, I'd say, the gold standard.
Yeah.
And it's constantly evolving. They've introduced things like RankBrain and BERT, sophisticated AI systems that are constantly refining search results to deliver the most relevant information. And they're able to understand the nuances of language and intent like never before.
Okay, I have to admit, sometimes I'm amazed by how Google seems to know exactly what I'm looking for, even when I don't know how to phrase it properly.
Yeah, that's the power of those AI systems at work.
Right.
And it's that continuous improvement that keeps users coming back.
Right.
Even with all the other search engines out there. I think that's a key part of maintaining their moat.
But it's not just about search, right? They've also seen incredible growth in other areas, like YouTube.
Oh, yeah?
It's hard to remember a time when YouTube was just about funny cat videos.
Right, exactly.
How did they turn a platform for user-generated content into such a powerful part of their empire?
Well, YouTube's evolution is a testament, I think, to Alphabet's ability to adapt and innovate. It's gone from a simple video sharing site to a global media powerhouse, a sophisticated advertising platform, a hub for creators and communities.
It all seems to connect back to their core strategy. user engagement and data.
That's right.
The more people watch, interact, and create on YouTube, the more valuable it becomes for advertisers.
Exactly.
They've essentially replicated their success in search with video content.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
It's brilliant. It's fascinating to see how they keep finding new ways to grow and dominate.
It is.
But with such immense power and influence comes a whole new set of challenges, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've all heard about the antitrust concerns, the growing focus on data privacy, and the questions about their impact on society. It can't all be smooth sailing at the top.
You're right. Those concerns are definitely the elephant in the room. And they're things that Alphabet has to navigate very carefully.
So what are some of the specific challenges they're facing in these areas?
We're seeing a global shift in the regulatory landscape. We're seeing antitrust lawsuits, data privacy regulations are getting stricter around the world.
Yeah.
And there's growing public debate about the power of big tech.
It sounds like they're facing a multi-front battle. Like they built this incredible fortress, but now the world is questioning if such a fortress should even exist.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The rules of the game are changing. And Alphabet's going to need to adapt quickly to this new reality if they want to maintain their position.
All right, I think this is a great place to pause and take a breath. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the early days of Google to the rise of Alphabet,
Yeah.
the evolution of their products, and some of the challenges they're facing now.
Uh-huh.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the tech world.
It has.
And I'm sure our listeners have a lot to process. Let's pick up the conversation in the next segment and delve deeper into those challenges, explore potential solutions, and try to understand what the future holds for this tech giant.
Sounds good. We left off talking about how the rules of the game are changing for Alphabet, and they're facing some serious scrutiny.
It's almost like they built this incredible castle, but now the world is wondering if it casts too large a shadow. Let's dig into some of those specific challenges they're facing.
One of the biggest, I'd say, is antitrust. Regulators are looking very closely at whether Alphabet's using its dominant position to stifle competition,
Okay.
especially in areas like search and advertising.
Makes sense.
They're investigating if Alphabet prioritizes its own products and services in search results, making it harder for competitors to gain a foothold.
So it's not just about being big, it's about whether they're using their size to unfairly disadvantage others.
Right, exactly.
And I can see how that would raise some red flags. What about the whole data privacy issue? That seems to be a growing concern for everyone, not just Alphabet.
Oh, absolutely. The sheer amount of data that Alphabet collects is staggering. I mean, they know our search history, our location, our emails, our YouTube viewing habits. It's a goldmine of information.
It's kind of creepy when you think about it.
It is. It is. And the question is, are they using this data responsibly, transparently, and with users' consent?
Well, that's the big question, right? It feels like there's a growing awareness among people that our data is valuable and that companies are profiting from it.
Yeah.
So what's Alphabet doing to address these concerns? Are they just ignoring them, or are they taking steps to be more transparent and give users more control?
Well, they're definitely aware of the changing tide of public opinion.
Okay.
We're seeing them make changes, providing more detailed privacy settings, allowing users to download their data,
Right.
even introducing features that automatically delete your browsing history after a certain period.
So they're making adjustments, but are these changes enough to satisfy regulators and regain public trust? It feels like there's a lot of skepticism out there.
There's a huge trust deficit that Alphabet needs to address,
Yeah.
And it's not just about ticking boxes and complying with regulations. It's about being genuinely committed to user privacy, transparency, and ethical data practices.
Actions speak louder than words. Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the antitrust concerns, data privacy issues.
Right.
What other challenges are on their radar?
Well, another significant challenge is the spread of misinformation and harmful content on their platforms, especially YouTube, with billions of users and hours of video uploaded every minute. It's a Herculean task to moderate all that content effectively.
Oh, for sure. It's like trying to hold back a tsunami with a sieve.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. How can they possibly monitor all that content and prevent the spread of false or dangerous information?
It's an impossible task almost.
Yeah, they're investing heavily in AI and machine learning to try to flag problematic content. But there are concerns about censorship, and potential biases in the algorithms.
Of course.
It's a complex problem with no easy solutions.
It sounds like they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, they need to protect users from harmful content. But on the other hand, they don't want to be accused of controlling what people see and hear.
You got it. Finding the right balance is crucial, and it's not just about technology. It's about human oversight, having clear guidelines,
Right.
and a commitment to fostering a healthy online environment.
It sounds like they need a whole new set of strategies to address these 21st century challenges. It's not just about building a better search engine anymore.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. The challenges they're facing now are unprecedented,
Yeah.
and they require a whole new way of thinking. I think it's not just about maintaining their moat now.
Okay.
It's about building bridges and fostering trust.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about the problems. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about solutions. What can Alphabet do to address these challenges and kind of navigate this new landscape? Are there any silver linings on the horizon?
Well, there are definitely things they can do. In terms of antitrust concerns, they can be more transparent about their algorithms.
Okay.
They can make it easier for users to choose alternative services
Uh,
and create a more level playing field for competitors.
so it's about being less of a walled garden and more of an open ecosystem.
Exactly.
Okay.
They can foster a more collaborative environment where innovation can thrive, even from companies outside their sphere of influence.
That's a big step for them.
It is. It is.
What about data privacy? Are there any solutions beyond just tweaking privacy settings and giving users more control? It feels like we need kind of a fundamental shift in how we think about data and ownership in the digital age.
You're raising a crucial point. There's a growing movement towards data decentralization,
Oh, interesting.
giving users more ownership and control over their own data.
Okay.
And technologies like blockchain and personal data stores could play a role in that shift,
Yeah.
empowering users to decide who has access to their information and how it's used.
That's a fascinating concept. It almost feels like we're on the cusp of a new digital revolution where data privacy and user empowerment take center stage.
Yeah, you could say that.
What about the issue of misinformation and harmful content? Any innovative solutions on the horizon for that?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of experimentation with new approaches. One promising area is using AI not just to flag harmful content, but to also promote credible sources and provide context.
Oh, okay.
Imagine a world where search results and social media feeds actually prioritize quality information
Wow.
from trusted sources, making it harder for misinformation to spread.
That would be amazing. It's like fighting fire with fire, using technology to combat the negative consequences of technology.
Right. It's a poetic solution in some ways.
It is. It sounds like Alphabet has a lot on its plate,
They do.
but they also have the resources and the talent to make a real difference.
They do, and it's not just about fixing problems. It's about seizing opportunities. Alphabet has the potential to really be a leader in shaping a more ethical, equitable, and sustainable digital future.
Okay, I'm feeling a little more optimistic now. But let's be realistic. Alphabet's a business, and businesses are driven by profit. Can they really prioritize these ethical concerns while also pursuing their own growth and expansion?
That's the million-dollar question. I think the next few years will be critical.
Yeah.
They need to find a sustainable path forward, one that balances their business objectives with their social responsibilities.
It's a tightrope walk for sure. But the world is watching, and the stakes are high. They have a chance to set a new standard for how tech companies operate in the 21st century.
They do.
Speaking of opportunities, let's not forget about Alphabet's other bets.
Right?
We talked about Waymo and Verily earlier, but there's this whole universe of potential breakthroughs that they're working on.
There is.
So let's delve back into those moonshot ventures. What are some of the most exciting developments in those areas?
One that's generating a lot of buzz is quantum computing.
Quantum computing, okay. That one sounds a little intimidating. Can you give us a quick breakdown of what it is and why it's such a big deal?
Well, in simple terms, quantum computing harnesses these bizarre laws of quantum mechanics to solve problems that are just impossible for even the most powerful classical computers.
Oh, wow.
It really has the potential to revolutionize fields like medicine, material science, artificial intelligence.
So we're talking about solving problems that are currently beyond our reach. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It does, doesn't it? But it's becoming a reality.
Wow.
And Alphabet is one of the companies at the forefront of this revolution. They're building quantum computers that could lead to breakthroughs in drug discovery, materials design,
It's incredible.
even our understanding of the universe.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. What about artificial intelligence? We've talked about how they're using it for things like moderating content and personalizing search results.
Uh-huh.
But what are some of the other frontiers they're exploring in AI?
Well, one area that I find particularly fascinating is the development of general-purpose AI,
Okay.
also known as artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
AGI.
And this is about creating AI systems that can perform any intellectual task that a human being can.
So we're talking about AI that can think and learn like humans, not just perform specific tasks.
That's right. And it's both exciting and a little unnerving.
It is, yeah.
Fine.
So AGI has the potential to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges,
Uh-huh.
but it also raises some pretty big ethical questions
It does.
about the nature of consciousness, the future of work, and the relationship between humans and machines.
Big questions, yeah.
It sounds like we're stepping into uncharted territory, and Alphabet is leading the expedition. Any other bets that are particularly noteworthy?
Well, there's Verily, which is making incredible strides in healthcare.
Oh, yeah. Very.
They're developing tools for early disease detection, personalized medicine, and even using AI to assist with surgical procedures.
It's amazing how technology is transforming every aspect of our lives, from the way we communicate to the way we receive healthcare.
It really is. And Alphabet is at the forefront of this transformation, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
We've covered a lot of ground in this segment, from antitrust concerns to quantum computing. It's been quite a whirlwind tour of Alphabet's challenges and opportunities.
It has.
But one thing's clear. The story of Alphabet is far from over.
It's a story that's still being written, and the next chapter promises to be even more fascinating than the last.
So we've explored Alphabet's incredible rise, their journey from that simple search engine to this sprawling tech empire.
It's really quite a story.
It is, and we've touched on the challenges they're facing as the world grapples with, well, the implications of their immense power.
Right.
It really makes you think about what it's actually like to work at a company like Alphabet.
Yeah.
Is it this, like, tech utopia full of brilliant minds and cutting-edge innovation, or is there more to it?
Well, from what I've gathered, it's a bit of both, honestly.
Oh, okay.
On the one hand, you do have some of the brightest minds in the world working on groundbreaking technologies.
Yeah.
And the culture really encourages creativity and risk-taking. They have resources that most companies can only dream of.
It sounds like a playground for anyone who's passionate about technology.
In many ways,
Yeah.
it is. But there's a flip side. The pressure to innovate is immense, the competition is fierce, and the work-life balance can be tough.
Yeah, I can imagine it can feel like you're always on,
Yeah,
constantly needing to push the boundaries and come up with the next big thing.
exactly.
Is there a lot of internal bureaucracy?
There is, a certain level. It comes with being such a large organization.
That makes sense.
Decisions can be slow, and it can be difficult to get your voice heard.
Especially amidst the thousands of other brilliant minds,
You got.
all vying for attention.
Yeah, it's not just this free-flowing river of creativity. There are dams and channels controlling the flow.
That's a really good analogy. It's a complex ecosystem, as we've been talking about,
It is.
with both its advantages and its drawbacks.
Right.
But even with those challenges, I imagine there's a certain sense of pride in working for a company that's literally shaping the future.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a feeling that you're part of something bigger than yourself, that you're contributing to something that really matters.
That must be pretty motivating.
It is. That sense of purpose can be incredibly motivating. It's like being a small cog in a giant machine, but knowing that the machine is doing incredible things.
And that your contribution, however small, is helping to move that machine forward.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, haven't we?
We have.
I mean, we've gone from the nuts and bolts of search algorithms to the philosophical implications of artificial intelligence.
It's been a wild ride.
It really has. A wild ride through the world of Alphabet.
It highlights the multifaceted nature of this company, and I think its impact on all our lives.
If you had to distill it down, what would you say is the key takeaway? What's the one thing you want our listener to remember about Alphabet?
I'd say Alphabet represents both the immense potential and the inherent complexities of technology in the 21st century. I mean, they have the power to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges, but they also operate within a system that's still figuring out how to balance innovation with responsibility, profit with ethics.
You're right. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about how we use it, how we govern it, and how we ensure that it serves humanity, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important for all of us as users, as citizens, to be informed and engaged and critical in how we interact with these technologies and the companies that create them.
We can't just be passive consumers.
No.
We have a role to play in shaping the digital future we want.
We do. We need to ask questions, demand transparency, and hold these companies accountable for their actions.
That's a good point. So, with all of that in mind, what's your final thought for our listener? What's something they can ponder as they continue their own exploration of Alphabet and the tech world?
Hmm, that's a good question. Well, think about those other bets, those moonshot ventures that Alphabet is pursuing. Which ones really spark your curiosity? Which ones do you think hold the greatest potential for positive impact? And what are the potential risks that we need to be aware of as these technologies develop?
Yeah, it's call to action for all of us to not just be observers, but to be active participants in shaping the future.
Exactly. The future is not predetermined. It's something we create together.
Well said. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a really enlightening conversation.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep learning. The world of technology is vast and ever evolving, and there's always something new to discover.